What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, aka JT, aka J On, aka Sherpa Winfrey, and I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, which we haven't done in a minute, where we get into the minds of the most successful domain investors in the world using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. The experts, the OGs, my homeboys. And I'm really looking forward to today's show. There's 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa review. We've got the grand opening. That's where we are right now. That's where I intro the Sherpas. We see what's going on with them, talk about some related things, some unrelated things, do some AKAs. Then we get into the domain game. That's where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses on the price. We keep score, and eventually, somehow, some way, someday, proven by the fact that Josh is rocking his Domain Sherpa hoodie right now, we do get the swag to the winners. And then we got segment 3, which is NameJet Gonna Jet. We review a list of domains coming up for auction on NameJet, see what the Sherpas like and what they don't like. And then last but not least, we get grand closing, where we'll discuss anything that we haven't covered already, what's going on in the domain space, and looking at the market trends, current events, allowing the guests to mention or promote anything they want to talk about that we've not already discussed. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. Over to my right, I got my boy, Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. the Dirk Diggler of digital assets, a.k.a. Bob Lee Swagger, the sniper, a.k.a. Drew. Drew got what I need, a.k.a. never going to give Drew up. Get Rickroll, Graybeard, the domain pirate is in the building. What's up, bro?
I'm good.
Good.
I have always been a creature of habit, but as I get older, that just intensifies for better or worse. I think the important thing is not to judge whether it's good or bad. I think it's just to accept it as what it is. And the more I lean into that, the better I feel. And so
Okay.
I'm back to all of my habits, both good and bad. And it feels great.
Yeah, I
And,
love that. I'm back to my old habits, like good or bad, baby.
no, good and bad. Not good or bad. Some are good, some are bad. Very
I'm
definitive.
saying, yeah,
But
and or whatever.
But it feels great, and I'm back. Today was a great fucking day, man. I woke up, as I always do, and then uh, I I did a little bit of work. I did a little email, but then I went straight in my sauna. I really I cooked it up in the sauna today, and then I went straight from my sauna. I finally refilled after about a 7-month hiatus. I refilled my cold plunge yesterday and cleaned it out, filled it up, got it cold, cooled down overnight. And so I did my sauna. I hit the cold plunge. I managed to get 3 minutes. I'm going to get back to my 5. I'm going to take a little bit. That shit hurt. I'm not going to lie. 3 minutes today freaking hurt. That was 8 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is. Y'all can do your math. I ain't. But it hurt, but it was great. I got out.
Oh, 8 degrees Celsius?
We're having an extended summer over here in Lisboa, so we
like 45 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's some pussy shit, dude.
You're saying 8 degrees Celsius is nothing, man. That's nothing.
No, that's it. You want 7 or 8.
But in general, people don't really understand why they're doing things. They just see it and hear it and do it, and they have no clue why they're doing it. So
and intention is such a big thing. Whether it's placebo or not, intention is huge. It really is.
Yeah.
Just to conclude my thought, for me, what I personally feel is the most productive for me, including today, is just going from my sauna to my cold plunge. And I do a 30-minute sauna followed by as long of a cold plunge as I possibly can do. And then I went and I did a workout about 2 hours later, and I felt great. And so
that's all that matters.
Anyways, that's the state of the nation over here. Feeling great. Extended summer. Sales are good. We closed 7-figure deals this week. And yeah, it's great.
The sauna stuff
the world didn't end. We dropped the Dicker tapes. The world didn't end. Mostly had only positive feedback. People were really excited to be able to go back and listen to whether it was Rick Schwartz or Birkins or Schilling or Shane or, just going back and reviewing some of the names. And then actually what a lot of people seem to be doing is going back and like looking at those reviews and then looking at what happened to those names. And I will say not biased at all, but I will say that people are saying, holy shit, Drew was so right about all these names. The
Oh,
names that
man.
I said I liked ended up selling to end users subsequently. And so just
Oh, man.
it's just another data point about
People are saying he's on the Trump thing. He's like, people are saying I'm amazing. Yeah,
Must
so real quick on that. Yeah, no, I think that it wasn't some huge thing. I mean, we obviously had some fun with the release because, they'd been, offline for a long time, and we'd had a lot of people, including Rick, who got back. We had him on the show last week, and when we met with Rick and Birkins in Miami, and it was a really big, long conversation around, hey, that's content that we would really love to see online. I mean, when they talked about, and this is really kind of what got to me, they talked about how much time they prepared for the shows back in the day. He's like, Mike and I, is what Rick said. He was like, Mike and I would get together and talk for literally prep for hours to talk about the names they were going to discuss and the different things, and then spend, hours on camera, and then, all of that kind of stuff that, I think it's important. It's like a time capsule, and good. Well, we haven't done a Domain Sherpa review in a couple of weeks. We've had some pretty cool shows. We did the show where we brought Sophia on. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to the rest of the media options team. We did the show with Escrow, going over the quarterly report, got into some of that stuff, which was good. And then, had the show last week with Rick, which was awesome. And so big shout out to Rick. And but we haven't done a Domain Sherpa review, so we haven't done the domain game in a minute. So let's get into it. And Drew, why don't you go first?
I didn't want to give one more thing. Shout out Robert Redford, who unfortunately passed. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. But truly, in my mind, like, Robert Redford was, I think, my favorite actor of all time. He just kind of like embodied that like Kennedy look that kind of defined the generation. And he just seemed like a really like the type of man that you would like want your son to grow up to be, like polite gentleman, but masculine, capable, intelligent, suave. Like I always, in my mind, it was like, man, if I could be anybody in like Hollywood, it was like Robert Redford. He's like, I really appreciated Robert Redford. So I was sad to see his passing, but 89 years old, it's not a tragedy.
No,
Yeah.
and
It's
big shout out to
sad to see him go. Sad to see him go.
big shout out to the Sundance Kid. You know what I'm saying? And
So
I
many
mean,
great movies.
Out of Africa.
what's
That's the
that?
one.
Good
Out
one.
of Africa. That's the one that I know him for.
All right. You know what? I think if I have to pick a Robert Redford movie, I probably actually I'm going to go with The Sting. The Sting.
And
Sting.
If anybody hasn't seen that, it's 1973 classic movie.
Sundance Kid, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he was in, was a Spy Game, I think, the one with Brad Pitt. That's pretty awesome. He
The
showed up in
saying for men like him is every man wanted to be him and every woman wanted to be with him.
That's it. Sounds like the guy I want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it is. It's he definitely embodied kind of that old Hollywood, and new Hollywood's kind of a mess. So it's
New Hollywood could burn the whole thing down. It's terrible.
Pretty much got Matt Damon.
Everything
Like,
about it horrible.
Matt Damon's our only guy that we like to hang out
Matt
with. He's a good
Damon.
actor,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a few, but it's but he definitely embodied kind of that old school Hollywood where it was still like it still felt pretty.
Yeah, like him,
throwback.
Sean Connery,
Newman.
Yeah, Paul Newman, Jack Nicholson. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
Nicholson was a cokehead.
oh shit, you just throwing it down. What Jack ever do to you? He's still around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Jack. I fuck with Jack. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude.
Too many bumps for me, man. That guy was.
Listen, I really appreciate people who have the psychedelic glimmer in their eye, and Jack Nicholson has the psychedelic glimmer.
That was coke, man. That was coke.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
anyway,
man.
all I wanted to just little tribute. Truly, that was one of the very few celebrities painted with a broad stroke that I give a flying shit about whatsoever. I'm gonna go. I got one. I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with Coolette.com to purchase, to buy.
All right. I actually don't know this one. I'm sorry. Go ahead. How do you spell it?
CULET. Coulette.
Oh, okay. Just ET.
Coulette. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Wait,
Probably a French
CULET?
word, but it's used universally in this.
CULET.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a purchase.
Yep.
Can I phone a friend?
Exactly. This one is.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
should
know.
totally introduce Phone a Friend to Sherpa.
Yeah,
That would be hilarious.
it really would, to see like who people would call. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I call Braden. Someone's calling Adam Strong. Somebody's calling like
Yeah, I didn't follow this one, but I
Who would
remember.
be your phone a friend? Who would you call?
on this one.
I'd probably Josh.
I love that. All right, Coulette.com.
Ah,
I mean, I don't know. This
come
is,
on.
I don't know. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna a little back of my phone. It's AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts of the 2-0 Philadelphia Eagles just beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? Good.
Did you say something? Because I didn't
Boom.
hear you.
I know
It's
you're.
like hearing it, but when it's something I don't care about, I just don't hear it.
I could
Oh, are you
probably
talking
ignore
about the team that lines 5 guys off sides on every play and does a tush push? I know
it.
them.
Hey, so we ran the tush push. It was like 12% of the plays. They ran it so much. They literally like.
They were lined up 8 yards in front of the ball, and they're like, yeah.
Hey, you know,
Okay.
it's like it's if it's a Bill Belichick thing, right? If like if you're not pushing the envelope, man, are you really trying? So.
I'm gonna be off here. I'm just
All right,
telling you
here we
right now.
go. Ready?
I don't know
3,
how.
2, 1. Flip it. All right. So I'm at 1,500. Josh is at 2,500, and Shane's at 2,800. So all right, we're all kind of in the same sort of
Yeah,
realm.
and I actually don't know.
I think Shane might have got it. I feel like it may have been like 3-ish. I'm not sure.
You look
Yeah.
this shit up.
I had it on my list, and I just remember it being like a cut of a bottom of it.
Right, who had what?
All right, I had 1,500. Josh had 2,500, and Shane had $2,800.
All right, Shane won.
Shane.
$3,161.
All right. Okay.
And I thought that was a phenomenal purchase. There was a lot of adoption and the Coulette. So I happen to really appreciate and collect some gemstones. And the Coulette is this guy right here. It's the point at the bottom of the stone, the part that usually goes into the setting. That's the Coulette. It's the most fragile part of a cut gemstone is the Coulette, and that's a citrine.
The Coulette. The Coulette. Yeah.
Anyway, so it has very wide adoption in different businesses related to jewelry and other related spaces.
But
I
I'm
think
seeing
even-
something that gives me a reason to believe that it might be worth a shot.
Here,
So
I'll throw this in too. The 2 words are capital allocation, and you've had such great sales. You have more capital to allocate, so you're being a little bit more risky than you were if you didn't have those great sales. Whether you admit it or not, it's the truth. We all do it.
100%. Which is
we all do
a
it.
good thing, but
Man, when things are booming and cash flow's coming in and we're just selling names, I get real loosey-goosey with my deployment. I start going in the auctions and I'm just like, yo, I'm a bit on that, and I'm a bit on that, and I'm a bit on that.
because it all seems like such good value compared to what you're selling names at retail at, right? So you're like,
Exactly.
"Hey, I can't lose on that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a
got
great point. And I think once you also have, the flow, and you're churning and moving and, and it's also every time you sell names, it's like you've also got to replenish the pipeline, right? So it's like the idea isn't necessarily to sell them all and
Well,
get
you
to 0
don't
names.
have to, right? That's also a conscious decision and
But it's what we do.
strategy.
It's what we do. That's just as soon as you sell a name, you're looking more than when you, especially big, when you're flush with cash, you start looking at things you weren't looking at. Like it's like anything else. You start looking on Zillow and you don't even need a fucking house. Like you're like,
Yeah.
why am I looking on Zillow? Like,
No, but
why
I
am I
think
looking at
that's-
another Porsche? I don't need a car. But when you're flush with cash, you
Mhm.
just do things that's money management is the key to all investments, and you do it worse when you're doing well.
Yeah, but I mean, I think also, and we've talked about this plenty of times on the show, where it's like when you're looking at a potential sale of a domain, it's also a matter of like, okay, and I think Braden's brought the point up, and literally within the last couple of months, we talked about this, that, should I sell a name for this price? It's like, well, if I can replace it for, less than what I'm about to sell it for, and there's something somewhat comparable, I mean, that also plays into even on the sell side to then continue to generate the cash to continue to, go buy names. But I will say this about Josh and, Drew's picking on him a little bit, being funny, but
I love it.
Josh is also, when it comes to curation, very few that are as good as you are, or that, will listen to when you hit up Drew and you're like, hey, this is a name you should be looking at. And Drew's like, hey, I just bought a new name, so it's like.
Well, I send all the good names to Drew, and then I pick the leftovers. It's part of the hierarchy, right, Drew?
Look, everybody's got to earn their keep, and you're doing a great job.
You got to bring the king a little piece of meat, and then go.
Bring a little piece of meat.
Yeah,
That's it.
actually,
the truth is that a lot happens in this town, and I don't get my piece of meat, but I think that both of you were spot on. I think the way you're looking at it is spot on. It's and it doesn't matter if it's domains or anything else. But these are just things to be conscious of, and to each his own. I think what Shane said, which is we each have a little bit of information asymmetry in our own way. There's some niche that we know more about, and if you look back at DomainSherpa, I think the one constant that most of the really successful domain investors have said on this show for the last 15 years and has been live is literally like, start out in the field you really, really know, go deep, buy the names that nobody else is hyped to because you happen to have some expertise that nobody else does. That's information asymmetry. Look at the hobbies, look at the things you're super interested in, look at the things you do, look at your side hustles, look at the other work you do, look at the prior businesses you've been in, and evaluate what are the names that people have overlooked. Where do you see something mispriced? And that's how you exploit the market. That's how you get alpha.
I've told this story on Sherpa before, but I was fortunate to go have lunch, actually dinner, with Stephen Friedman, who was chairman of Goldman Sachs forever. And I jokingly said, what do I need to do to get a job with you? And at the time he wasn't there, but he said, the people I hired because, and I had not heard this word before, was because of information asymmetry. And I acted like I knew what that meant, but I actually didn't. And he told me, the people that I hired were experts in their field. I brought them on to give me information that I could monetize because they knew more about it than anybody. And it was the craziest fields that I bring in. The people I hired had nothing to do with trading, nothing to do with assets, were the weirdest people you've ever met, but they could give me information that I could trade on or monetize that nobody else could give me. And that's who I hire. And if you want to be on my team, bring me something that nobody else knows that you know. And I've never forgotten that. And that's how you make a living in this world.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that even sort of piggybacks the idea that, surround yourself with people smarter than you, right? And in that case, it's surround yourself with people who know more about things than you do, and things that are important and things that ultimately can, deliver gains.
Yeah, and if you tell your kids, just be better at something than somebody else and you'll be fine.
Yeah, hey, you don't have to look, when it comes to outrunning the bear, you don't have to be the fastest.
Yeah,
you just can't be
you
the
have to be
slowest.
faster than something.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, hey, let's finish up the domain game. Although technically, Shane, you've already got the win. If you've got a name to throw out, let's do it.
I got two that I liked this week that I bought. You might know the first because it might have passed through, but I bought deadbolt.ai, came through.
Oh, cool.
I used to own deadbolt.com. I sold it to Siger.
I know, that's why this is one of the reasons I bought it, and I'll tell you after. It's so deadbolt.ai.
All right, let's do it. Shout out to Siger, by the way.
Did someone in the Discord say, hey, you should sell this to Shane or Siger, and then it went to you?
Yes,
yeah, dude. I saw that come up, and that's funny.
The funny thing is, I had already purchased it when it came up, so yeah.
Oh,
I just
really?
let it flow. I let it flow through because I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh man, can't remember what he was asking for it.
All right, deadbolt.ai. All right, I'm ready when you guys are. 3, 2, 1. Oh, Josh and I are dead on at 3,000.
Yeah,
Drew's
that
at
was the price.
5,369.
That literally was the price. $3,000.
3.
3 on the money.
Boom. I feel like
Wow.
Josh had insider information.
I
which
didn't
makes-
know. I
Me
didn't-
too. Josh has definitely got insider info.
Well, he
here.
didn't.
But that makes
he didn't
that
list
makes
it for that
my
either.
win even that much
Josh
more
has got
impressive.
insider info on everything.
You know, that's what I'm saying, man. He's like the ultimate insider. And
Yeah, motherfucker, he's in all these little discords. He got like 9 of them. He's up in everything. He knows all the secrets.
And all right, well, cool. So then, like again, that makes my guess even that much more impressive. So I feel like even though I didn't win
and
today,
I bought
feel
it
like
because Seiger's got deadbolt.com at $850,000. I figure there's a good middle between $3,000 and $850,000 that I can make some cash on.
yeah. Hey, look, I mean,
Deadbolt AI is not .com, but it also isn't $3,000 versus I mean, there's some wiggle room
Sure.
in there. So.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's
And
really good. I like
I've
it.
seen the auctions at AI. That's it went for 1,500, I think, in the spring or in the fall, and things have gone up a little bit since those times. So
Sure.
I just felt
Hey,
it was a good ad.
it's like
Sure
the
have.
ugly. It's
AI
like
just through the roof, man. Insane volume.
true.
And I did buy. I'll say it. I did buy Foot Race. That was the other one that
Best.
came
It's
up.
the best.
Did you guys see footrace.com come up?
No.
Oh,
Did you
damn,
buy
that's
that?
cool. That's
Yeah,
Did
I
you
cool.
bought
buy
that,
that?
for I bought that for $2,000. So that was a good.
That's good.
No. You
That
bought
was a
great name.
footrace.com for $2,000?
Yeah, at auction. That was a
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah,
that was
that's
really
good.
good in our running category that we're adding. So
Well,
Yeah,
but it's an interesting point you make about Deadbolt AI versus Deadbolt.com and how the .com's out there priced at $850K. And now Deadbolt.ai gets to be the ugly friend that's like with the hot girl that, you know what I'm saying? Some dudes are like, I'll just take the low hanging fruit. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
These things are so important, though. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know what you think, Drew. But like, check. Like, there's a whole thing about you want to check what the price is of other TLDs, whether they're
Oh, yeah,
available,
we talked. Yeah,
whether
we
they're
talked about that.
developed. We talk about that a lot, right? But like, when someone, even if like the underlying metrics maybe are not that like amazing, if you know that the owner of the .com is not gonna sell that domain for cheap, then the options become more limited.
Yeah.
But I
Well, and I told
we're doing a little bit of portfolio analysis. We're trying to improve. Sophia's working on some of this stuff, and I'm just going through. I'm just spending a little bit more time and looking at my names and going through the names. And the truth of the matter is that it's the 80-20 rule. It's 80% of the profits are coming from the really good shit. You know what I mean? It's not the weird shit that I had a weird random thought about that I said, oh, I'm gonna go fucking register this name. And it's like, yeah, every couple of months I'll go sell one of those names for $5,000 or $25,000. But on a regular basis, we're selling the really good shit. The shit that I said, I didn't just roll a freaking high offer into an auction on. It was something I freaking pursued.
That's right.
With strong intent, and I bought it, and kind of like what we said on the show with Rick, it didn't really matter what I paid. It's just the fact that I got the name.
That's right.
It's my side of the ledger. And anybody else that wants is going to have to pay. And pay they will. Because when you got something that everybody wants, eventually somebody will pay. And so really that's pretty much where I've landed, is that I want more names, but I really just want more really good shit.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. I want stuff.
Good shit.
Yeah, give me that good shit. Y'all can smoke on your AI
nasty,
crack.
that gushy stuff.
You know what I'm saying? I got that pure cocaine over here.
Give me the funk,
And
that
so-
sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
Yeah. So
I'm a
anyways,
hustler, baby.
I really I think I have an extremely high level of confidence that I think could even be a year from now, but certainly in 2. Y'all are going to be saying Drew is right on the AI thing. And I have an extremely high conviction that the cream of the crop is going to be outperforming the rest of the domain market, maybe by 100x, 2 years out, 3 years
Wait,
out.
let's
And
put it-
so
let's
I
put
think
it
it's
into-
so
not-
interesting and telling that you're asking that question exactly the way that you're asking it, because what it tells me is that you're also, which we knew, and I've said this judgmental, I'm not being critical. I'm really making an observation. you are super myopic and dialed in and thinking that this whole AI boom and .ai and selling domain names only to AI companies, that this is the whole market. And it's not.
No. Wait,
And
that's not
so
what I
what's
said.
going to
That's
happen
not
is
what I
we've
said.
got this
Hold on.
flurry of
That's not
investment.
what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm saying that you're talking about the entire ecosystem of startups basically being like funneling into larger companies. So like, I'm not talking
No,
about
that's not what I'm
like,
saying. I'm saying
well,
AI. I'm saying AI companies.
well, a lot of a lot of companies are going to continue to exist outside of that. So
All
like,
right, pause. We started this conversation on the premise that I said that um
yeah, but I get it. But my point is that it's applicable to all domains that are outside of the ones that are owned by
no, because
OpenAI.
that paradigm of every product and service in AI becoming a feature set of a larger model, business, or service, that
But
paradigm doesn't
the same
exist
is
in most other
applicable to like
markets.
a mid-tier,
You're
like
going to see, huh?
But there'll always be companies that take that and do something unique and focused, right? Like headshots.ai. You can get a headshot all day using AI. But
Yeah.
headshots.ai and those headshots kill. They're printing money and they probably will, not as much as they are now. But people still go to headshots even though we can go to Gemini and get those headshots.
Yeah. And then, but ask yourself in 18 months, 24 months if that's still true. Because if you actually look back at the history of what happens, that's not what happens. People
Well,
don't
and I
still go to
agree with you, but that
headshots.ai.
doesn't mean I can't take advantage now. Like nothing lasts
No,
forever.
I agree. I agree. But again, that's just a different perspective. That's a different way of
Yeah.
investing.
Yeah.
My whole point, the whole premise that I've been trying to explain to people, apparently ineffectively, is that you are playing a game of musical chairs in this .ai market. You have high renewal costs. You're paying high entrance fees. Your margin on the upside is limited compared to other markets. And because the prices at wholesale have gone so high, and for that reason, you're playing a game of hot potato. And when the music stops, there's going to be a lot of people holding the bags. And there's not going to be a large pool of buyers for these because they're all going to suddenly be gone.
Yeah.
They're literally not getting their next round of investment.
Now.
Anybody that doesn't hit, let's say, escape velocity in the next 12 months, they're freaking dead. Dead. Forget about them. They do not exist. And those people have already got a domain. So who's buying your domain 12 months from now? That's my point, is there's a limited window in which this all makes sense. And I think that window is slamming shut very, very quickly. And so,
But it doesn't shut completely is the point. It doesn't completely
so
shut.
what does that mean?
We're in this.
Look, we're not going to agree because obviously nobody agrees with me on this.
No, but we do. But you're extremely like.
To me, it's crystal clear.
Well, yeah, but it's not black and white completely. Like there will be more companies that evolve, like come up. Will it be
Sure, some, but again, I'm not trying to make a business on the exceptions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But my point is,
a bad way to go about this.
That effect is not just across .ai names, right? There is a massive boom in funding for AI related companies, and they're not all using .ai domains, and it does funnel into various different names that are not necessarily super premium, right? And as that tapers off, the domain market as a whole will taper off too. But it
I
doesn't.
disagree. I actually think it's the exact opposite. So I think that with the boom of AI, as AI consolidates into 10 companies, and those things become incredibly freaking powerful as tools to be utilized by other businesses in real industries, um, you're going to see massive amounts of efficiency, massive amounts of innovation. You're going to see enormous innovation over the next 3 years in energy, in material science, in biotech, in just biology in general, in transportation, across every major field that really matters. The stuff that really makes we've been so focused on software for 20 years. The stuff that really makes the world turn, the stuff that really makes our species, let's say, leveraged, that gives our species leverage in the physical universe that we live in. those things are going to make massive advancements. They've been basically stalled in varying fields, let's say somewhere between 30 and 70 years. Okay. Physics, health, all of these things. Very little true material leap and bound progress, except in small niches, for 30 to 70 years. And I think we're about to see that accelerate tremendously. And that's going to create real business creation in various fields that are not AI. They don't need a .ai domain name. In fact, they don't want one. And the AI is going to make these companies possible and make them strong and make them efficient and make them have higher margins than traditional businesses have had in the past. Because instead of having 9% margin with a 2 million person headcount, they can have a 70% headcount and a 68% margin or a 93% margin. And that's the future of business. And my opinion. And
I agree. I agree with that.
Domain names become that true only moat that matters. And let's say brand more broadly. And domain names are your digital brand. And in that world, most business is happening in the digital world. And therefore, your domain name is your brand. Whatever your domain is, that's your brand. And the only person that gets to say their brand without a domain extension on it is the one that owns the .com. Period. Full stop. End of story. There's absolutely nothing anybody's going to tell me that is going to change my mind about that. Nothing. I've thought about this hours and hours and hours every single day for years. There's nothing anybody's going to do to change my mind.
I agree with you.
That's how it's going to happen.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going to see, like, again, the other thing everybody, I've said this a million times, is nothing new, but the only reason anybody's buying your stupid .ai domain name is because the VCs there's so much freaking noise. They're just trying to look for signal. And what they don't get is that a .ai domain name is more noise. It's not signal. And so, I look at the signal, and the signal is the MIT report on AI. 95% of all deployments of AI within real businesses, not I made a headshot app. No, taking headshot app or whatever AI tool somebody created, deploying it into a real enterprise. And then what are the efficiencies? What are the gains? How do we justify the investment? 95% failed across every single metric of, was this beneficial? Did this save us money? Did this create efficiencies? Did this improve headcount? Did this improve? 95% failure rate. And what does that tell you? It tells you that the VCs have no freaking clue what they're doing. And again, I'm not even trying to be negative to VCs. How should they? There's a bazillion new companies launching. They all have a graph that went up and to the right. And nobody knows where this space is going. And so what do? They say, all right, we need signal. And so they see, oh, great domain name .ai. Okay, they're doing something. Boom, you get a chat. You get a chat. You get a chat. And then as soon as they start seeing that the .ai domain name is just more noise and it's not signal, it stops being a factor in the financing, okay? Even if it decreases as a factor. There's just no reason for it. And so the only reason that any of these companies are spending the money that they are to get a .ai domain name is purely because of the VCs throwing checks at anything they called signal in the AI market in order to try and, find the wheat from the chaff. And in my opinion, the AI names, I think that what I've just said is not opinion. I think that's fact. And the part that's opinion is that I think that the AI domain names are noise and not signal in the AI market in order to try and, find the wheat from the chaff. And in my opinion, the AI names, I think that what I've just said is not opinion. I think that's fact. And the part that's opinion is that I think that the AI domain names are noise and not signal. Okay. And I think that the VCs are waking up to that and will continue to wake up to that over the coming 6-12 months. And that will basically be all she wrote. Now, it's not to say AI domains are going anywhere. They serve a purpose. But I'm talking to the investor. Why would you overpay for a .ai domain name that has a shorter timeline than a .com in which it likely is to be deployed and sold? That's my point. And I don't know why nobody gets that point. To me, it's crystal clear. I don't really care because I think I'm buying great names at below market prices where I
Yeah.
haven't been able to do so for years, 3-4 years. I felt like I was priced out in most cases. So while everybody else is focused on overpaying for .ai domains and, .now and .dev and all this bullshit, um, I'm
I
very happy continuing to just buy great .coms. Every .com I buy, not every, but there's exceptions, but every .com that I actually throw any real money at, I think about, is this a name I'm willing to hold 10 years, 20 years? And I don't think that there's a handful of .ai domain names that you can look at and truly say to yourself, I'm
Yeah.
comfortable paying this price and holding on to it for the next 20 years.
I agree with you, by the way. I just want to say that I agree with everything you say. The only thing that we differ on in the opinion is that I think that there is going to continue to be quite a large number of companies, an investable amount from my perspective, that will be willing to drop 40, 50 grand on a .ai domain for longer than the next 6 to 12 months. That's the only, I guess, like the rest of it, everything you're saying, I agree with it. Again, I don't necessarily think it's opinion. I think it's more fact, right? And like from a long-term time horizon, yeah, put your money in .com. It's a lot safer, right? It's a lot
Not
safer.
trying to talk my own bag. It's like,
Yeah, I agree with
.com. It's everybody's bag.
right.
So the point is just like,
it's not debatable. It's not debatable.
it's just about, comes back to what we said before. It's about capital allocation. And, I think in every market, Shane can speak to this more intelligently than I can, but as far as I know, in every financial market that exists, the thing people do worst is price risk. They don't know how to price or account for risk. And so they look at things and they go apples to apples. You spent $2,000 on this .ai, you spent $3,000 on this .com, $2,000 versus $3,000.
Well, that's
Well,
the thing about stocks is
that's not
they
true.
actually show you the stocks. You get to see it priced in. I mean, it's literally math. It shows you the risk of, of your betas and your thetas and all the stuff, the price adjustments. You can see that. Domains, we don't have that. People don't
No,
see it. But
there's no mark to market.
I'll make
so you
my
don't get
only
the volatility.
I'll make my only point is how I've done things. What you say is exactly how I approach it. I'm a brand person, right? People buy keywords. And it's the keyword. When a company thinks of a brand, the first thing they do is the name, right? They don't put a com on it. That obviously is where they come to. So I'm always thinking about the keyword. The .com has the ultimate value. The other ones have a percentage of that value, and that is going to change with time. You just have to understand in your mind what is an AI moved up recently, right? So it was a certain percentage, and over the last year, it's moved up quite a bit. You're saying that's going to move right back down. So people have to understand what is a .io. We wrote .io off, right? Like Josh, like 6 months ago, we were saying how .io might be dead, and all of a sudden, bam, it's hitting again.
Yeah.
So those percentages went up a little bit. XYZ, it was hot, it was dead. Then it got hot. Then it went dead, and now we're seeing crypto hot.
Yeah,
So
XYZ actually seems to be making a rebound.
So those if you look at my chart, you're going to see the percentage.
It's gotten so toxic that I don't even talk about XYZ anymore, but it's funny, and I've just made this whole rant about, .com is, but I did buy like 100 or 150, at launch, like literally day one that XYZ launched, I got like 100, 150, mostly like first names and then really top keywords, and
how are you doing?
I have to say, I really, I will. I just want to. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Love me, hate me, say whatever you want. I clearly don't care. But I have personally sold, I think, 3 or 4 .xyz's in the 6 figures, and I have sold countless in the 5 figures. I believe that I'm buying those with an absolute guaranteed. I can do a 2-3x to another domain investor, right? And so again, it's all just relative to
So there'll be hundreds of people listening that's saying, okay, so what's too much? Like, what's too much? What's not enough? Like, so like, if someone's going out and they find a good word,
I got one for you. I bought peach.xyz regular renewal $6,000.
Right. So
if
someone was able to buy peach.ai, for example, for $6,000, would you say that would be a good buy?
I would say they did probably a good buy. it's probably a
Right.
good buy.
I think that would definitely be a good buy. Here's what I think is
Well,
interesting. And
I know it would. I know it would as well, relative to like what the costs are today.
Yeah.
But like people are going to say, people are going to be thinking to themselves, what is a good buy then? Like I understand that you're saying that the domain, like the domain, like within a certain range, it does make
Look,
sense.
this is
What
the
is the
same
range?
problem in every market. Everybody wants to go where it's hot, right? So,
Mm.
you know,
Give me your percentage
if
for each one.
when Bored Apes were trading at 300 ETH floor, everybody in the world, I have clients that are like the most conservative. These guys are, literally the last person on earth that you would ever think of hearing the word Bored Ape Yacht Club come out of their freaking mouth. And they're calling me up like, oh, I think I might need to get one of these apes. And right. And so when everything's hot, everybody wants to get in. And then people ask the same question. What's a good deal? Is 300 still a good deal? Well, it is if you think it's going to 1 million, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that AI has peaked, or maybe the prices go up. Even if they double from here, I don't think it's a good investment as a domain investor, because at current prices, of course there are exceptions, and there are
Right.
exceptional investors. The James Booths, the Rob Calfan, yourself. There are people that have ninja abilities to still get great deals and identify unique opportunities. But for the most part, if you're in there, you're participating in auctions, you're buying these in auctions, you're buying in public platforms, you're not sniping them and getting great deals off somebody that just didn't have a clue,
Mm.
then this is not a good investment. Because
I
in
think that's
my
Yeah, I
opinion,
think
it's
that's.
a
I think that's
double
the
at
point.
best,
okay.
and
Yeah.
you got 24 months to make it. And if you don't, you're sitting on a liability.
Well, I think that's a very important point, and I think that's kind of like, also the way I look at it. We've reached a certain, maybe is it a fever pitch? It's how you believe the names where they are, right? Do you think they're going to continue to appreciate in value? And then, like we say on the show all the time, we say it on the show probably every time. You make money on the buy, not on the sell. So if you have an opportunity to still acquire, and this goes to the point you were making, Josh, about Peach.ai. If you can get Peach.ai for $5,000 right now today, right? You absolutely buy it, because you can go and probably flip that pretty quickly for 50, So it's like, and by pretty quickly, it might take a few months, but that's like realistically, you can 10x that without taking on a lot of risk, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
But if you anticipate that the market for AIs, which now we see OneWord.ai selling for
Who even cares about that statement? Because you can't get Peach.ai for $5,000.
No,
Well,
but it's the
But
same.
that's not quite true. That's not quite true. You can
on.
get not Peach.ai specifically, but you can get great asymmetric deals in .ai. You can.
yeah,
You
and this is
cannot
okay.
get a
And
fruit,
hold
an
on.
animal, a proper
Well,
noun.
hold on, hold
No,
on.
you can't. They're
Okay, that's fine.
25
That's
to
fine.
50 grand at
Hold on, Drew.
wholesale.
Hold on. But this is the other thing I was going to say. I think it's interesting when you look at the way the .ai has evolved, right? And if it's currently, a lot of the good names were already sort of acquired by folks that are domain investors versus end users. One of the things that's very interesting about .com, because it's sort of the original, right? There were opportunities to get names from people that didn't realize the value that they had, right? You talk about asymmetric information and you talk about opportunity. .coms, because they were registered by people that created businesses and all those kinds of things. Is there a dynamic where .ai, because it was very investor driven from the beginning, it means it's harder now to snipe those names, to pull an Andy and a James Booth and
Yeah,
to
it
go
is.
find somebody's grandma who has access to the name, which means it's harder to go get the names at the kind of prices that you need to go get them at in order to give you the big returns that
It
justify
is.
the
It
acquisition.
is. It is.
Oh,
It is.
man, that was a great way of saying what I've been trying to say for basically, I don't know, what, a year now?
Hey,
Well,
man.
you've definitely been saying it for an hour on this show.
Let me talk
So-
about one name real quick, because there's 1 hour left. The auction will be long over when this thing gets published. And I've been the high bidder for days. Somebody came in and started messing me up today, and I had a high proxy, and now they've outbid me, and I'm really on the fence. The name is grants.org. Grants.org. It's at 31,500 on GoDaddy right now. I was the high bidder. I got outbid, and I'm really on the fence about whether to go higher. This feels like a high price, but
It would be one of the very few names where .org is more powerful than
Better than the .com.
Yeah. Yeah. And people love free money. Grants.
People love. There's nothing in the world people like more than free money.
Can't give you much advice on that one, man. Like, to me, that feels high, but you know that kind of exactmatch.org market better than anyone. So,
Well, the biggest problem is it's it right at a good, like, that is the number.
That's it. That's it. That's my problem. Is like that was my problem. My proxy was 28. So it's like I'm right there. It was like,
I always tell everybody
you think that that's a name that there's not going to come up, like, you're not going to be able to see comparable names like that come up in the next 10 years, then spend the extra 5K, dude.
I don't think I'm going to be able to see comparable names come up. I think that that's an excellent observation. I don't think that I can buy another name like grants.org. Somebody led a serious portfolio because there was like leans.org. There was some really big keyword.orgs that expired all around the same time. But grants is really a special one. The problem is again, it's that capital allocation. Is that the best place for me to drop 35, 40 grand right now?
Probably not. But like, at the same time, like, here's the thing. At the same time, for you, I don't think that should be your primary.
No, 5 grand, 10 grand is not going to make a huge difference because you'll come back to it and you'll just have a story. You won't have a domain if you don't.
Yeah, I think that the domain itself for you is more valuable than, whatever you have to overpay to get it.
Yeah. Somebody who has a name up for auction, it doesn't matter if it's an auction house or a personal user, for it to not go to the auction is like number one thing you do. It's just such basics.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
All right, let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah. Well, speaking of auctions, let's go through the auction list. Josh, let's start with you and let us know what you like and what you don't like.
Sure. I really like empiregroup.com. That one stands out to me as a name that I would like to put in my portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
These group.com names seem to be going pretty high recently. So I don't think that I would be able to bid high enough to put it to acquire it. But I would probably, I think that for me personally, I'd probably pay up to about $2,000, depending on a few things. Like, I might want to like do a little bit more research and I might go a little higher. But unfortunately,
well, what do you think? What would you ultimately be willing to pay to snag it?
To snag it, like, I would want to have a look a little bit more at like usage and how long it's been off the market, like that kind of thing. Like, but if I saw that for $2 grand, I would probably buy it. Let me just see.
Cool. By the way, I said
see, like, if I do a little bit more research, like that shit's hot. Like, I would probably pay $5 grand, maybe.
Yeah, Empire has too many use cases for it to be under $5 grand, to be honest.
Yeah, like, I would probably pay $5 grand to see it, but like, now looking at it, that shit's probably gonna go to 10.
By talking about it, you've definitely priced yourself out.
All right. I like how would you pronounce this? Elico?
Elico or Elico or
yeah, I like that name a lot. That again is like a name that I would pay like right in that like $4 or $5 grand range. Might actually be acquirable in that range, that one. So I like that. Like, mainly because like it's a short, like, 5-word brandable, like, pronounceable, but also like it could be like Eli Company. I just like it.
Yeah,
it's a good
yeah.
name.
One
more?
Sure.
What's interesting to me? I wonder, like, I guess things changed in regards to like PPC again recently. Like, and just like traffic in general is less valuable than even that it was this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to think that Seex.com must get some pretty insane traffic. I don't know how valuable that would be, but I would love to kind of like know that with someone who's like an expert in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as a brand, I don't really care for it that much. Like, but I would be totally interested to see how
I
much.
love it. I love that's my favorite name by far. Not even close for so many reasons.
So Seex.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, talk about it then.
Number one is just look. If there was a single thing that I would say is the absolute unequivocal highest coefficient indication of a domain name's proclivity to sell to an end user for a high price is how much freaking traffic does the domain have? Okay. I can't even explain to you why, other than what I believe, which is that it's somehow, in parallel to human behavior, the names that people have a tendency to type in are the same things that they have a tendency to name their companies for, are the same thing. I don't know. I think it's just like some of these things are just magnetic in many ways that attract us through various aspects of our human psychology and behavior. But Seex.com for sure has a bunch of traffic and also has multiple ways of looking at that name, evaluating that name for multiple different applications. It could be Swedish exchange, SE for Sweden, EX for exchange. It can be see everything, like CX, see everything, or see nothing, or see whatever you want X to stand for. And then it can just be a typo of SAS. And so this is a phenomenal domain name, in my opinion. For all of those reasons. And it's not because, oh, wow, well, it's the best brand in the world. No, it's because on a relative basis, depending on what it goes for, you've got multiple avenues to find success and probably limited downside. You're going to bid in an auction. There's going to be other people that want it. And so probably your downside is whatever the last guy is that you outbid. Right. So maybe a few guys behind that, right? But it's not, so I think I love these types of names. But
How
it
much
might
you
get out of
think that goes
control and beyond, a fair price.
I think interesting points. All right, Shane, what about you, man? What you like? What don't you like?
Yeah, I like different names on here. I like Archon, and I'll kind of explain how I went through it. When I thought Archon, I think of king. Like in our fraternity, the president's called the Archon, so that's the first thing that came to mind is that means king. But then I realized there's no H in it.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that asymmetric information right there.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I looked up and I thought, okay, well, this doesn't have an H in it, so that's just kind of a typo. Then you go look at Crunchbase and you go look at the sites. There's tons of companies named Archon without the H. I mean, there's just as many or more with the H, but there was way more usage than I ever imagined on Archon. So that's a really solid name, and it's 32 years old, hasn't seen the light of day like we talked about earlier. So I think
Yeah,
Archon,
oldest name on the list. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's if you just look at all the people who use it, that depending on what it sells for, there's going to be a lot of people that would have been waiting to have that name.
Yeah, that's an insane name.
Yeah, so that one's solid. And Tesoro, we think the energy
Ah,
company,
yeah.
but if you look, that's the first thing that came to mind for me is that that's a defunct. I don't know, it's been 12 years or whatever since they're defunct, but there's 1,000 companies named Tesoro that aren't energy that are doing other things. So
Because and then that name I'm a big fan of. I mean, it means treasure, right? In Italian and Spanish. And it's
huge.
like,
Yeah,
and there's so
another.
many. That's why, well, when I first saw it with the Esteban appraisal, now the Esteban, take it for a grain of salt, but it is algorithmically driven based on traffic and some other things, right? So when I saw that, I was like, that's pretty high. But then you do some digging and it's like, now, would you like Tesoro over Archon? If you could have either one, which one do you take?
I think Archon to me, I mean, I would double down on how many people actually are using the name in their brands. But I think it's pretty close. There's way more on both of them than I thought. So to me, they're almost equal in value, to be honest.
Both pretty awesome names.
Yeah. Really, really good names. And again, they weren't first thought. Like, as an old domain investor, you see the consonant vowel, and I like the 5-letter.coms, those kind of things. But the top and the bottom of our list today are by far my
insane list. Best list I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Well, and part of it is because we haven't done a Sherpa review in about 3 weeks. So it allows us to really kind of, there's the cream of the crop, you know what I mean? Because what happens is when we get into 3 shows in 3 weeks, by the end of that 3rd week, we're like down pretty low on the list,
And when I do my list, I only go a week out. So I don't
Yeah.
I don't get caught up in things that are coming 2 weeks later, so I actually hadn't seen them yet. So as
Yeah.
soon as I saw them, I actually went and put bids on them the day you sent the list out, just to remind myself,
Hey, man.
so I
That's what I
don't
like to
miss
hear.
it.
You
But
hear
yeah,
that,
no, those are
NameJet?
solid names, and honestly, we're big fans of NameJet because they sponsor us, and we want them to do well. So when you see names come like that, you want them to get the cash. Like I
Oh yeah.
literally.
Well, I mean, dude, when I used to run the business, right, and
Oh,
I'd
that's true. I forget. Yeah,
and like we would see stuff like this come through, and I'd be like, "Oh, please, just get it. Let's get to auction,"
let it
And
get there so that we can
Yeah.
pay our bills. Yeah, no doubt
100%,
about it.
dude. 100%.
so,
Yeah, so you love seeing this 32-year-old everybody wants and waiting for the names, and you hope nobody sees it but us, but it's a little
we
late
might have
now.
to just not run this
Yeah,
show. You
exactly.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't run it. Just thank them and just run a straight 30-minute commercial.
I'm already moving funds in my like around into my account right now. Lining up some big bids.
Yeah.
Big biz. It's not worth it. Not financial advice and not encouraging. In fact, let's go the opposite. Stay away. Let's get it.
Oh,
All
by
right,
the way,
Josh.
bought my son a 3D printer. It's bamboo labs. I have been skeptical, and now I think it's basically magic. Like I watch it and I'm just like, what the hell? Thank God for really, really smart people. Like, I don't know what the math looks like to make that thing work, but if you actually watch it, laying the micro, thin little lines of plastic and the detail of these fine, we printed a 911 Porsche Turbo. The wheels, the freaking detail on this thing is so insane to me. I truly cannot imagine how these things work and how they get these various moving parts to coordinate into these microscopic little. I'll tell you what, after watching this 3D printer do it, I want a robot doing surgery on me before a human all day, every day. Like this thing is just like million miles an hour. It drops this shit and it comes out flawless. Crazy.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane. Not even that expensive, huh?
No. I was like, this thing must cost thousands. And it's like
Yeah.
$200.
It's all in the filament. It's kinda like the toner, the
Yeah,
tone.
it's like the razors. That's it, guys.
Yeah.
I just re-upped today. I was like, oh shit, I need blue filament.
Here's a
Black
free
filament.
printer and hit the
Oh, it'd
toner
be nice to have some
$4,000.
bread. And transparent. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but I better get some of that. So the next thing you know, you get $300 of filament in the mail.
That's
Tom Media Options is officially brokering the domain name adrenaline.com.
Yeah.
Of which I happen to think Red Bull would be the perfect owner, or Monster Energy. But adrenaline.com, if you know the right buyer for that name, let us know.
Let us know. We'll figure something out.
That's a good
All right.
see? It all tied together.
That's it. All roads lead to domains.
That's exactly right. So listen, to the audience, thank you guys so much for tuning in. For those of you guys who hung out for this 2-hour show, we might even have to break this into two episodes.
No, stop it. People like it. They like the
I'm
length.
playing. Yeah, they like it for sure. They love it. They love you. I think, but no, look, I say it on every show, without you guys, there is no us. We do appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you so much to my co-hosts. As always, you guys are the best, giving out this much alpha, taking your time to give it to the audience in an effort to, bring everybody under the tent. Rising tide lifts all boats. In the words of Bill and Ted, everybody be excellent to each other. Please, it is important. And we'll see everybody next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out, y'all.